If you're learning to code because you think a tech job is going to fix your motivation, your confidence, or the feeling that you're behind in life, it won't. Learning to code changed my career, but it didn't fix my life. In this video, I want to talk to you about what I actually did and why no one really talks about it. Now, don't think I'm here speaking to you from the mountaintop. I'm still in the trenches working and figuring things out, and I'm still trying to balance sprint deadlines with parenting, and I'm still learning when to close my laptop and be present at home. But here's something I learned the hard way. A high-value skill is just a tool, and if the person holding that tool is reactive, undisciplined, or disorganized, that tool doesn't save them. When I was trying to break into tech, I woke up between 4:30 and 5 every morning just to study. Many people would like to call that discipline, but it wasn't. I had just finished a boot camp with no job lined up and my wife was pregnant. I only had a certificate that was essentially a participation trophy and a deadline that felt very real. Most mornings, I'd sit there half awake staring into space feeling like a fraud who was about to fail. That was desperation, not discipline. I wasn't running toward a dream, I was avoiding a nightmare, and that season of my life, it worked out, but it came at a cost. I was physically there for my wife, but I was mentally gone. And I realized, no amount of grit or hustle will make you a good man. You have to be consistent and actually show up when it matters. Now, during the whole learn to code movement, I really believed that once I landed the role, once I became a software engineer, I'd finally have it all together. But when my daughter arrived, the pressure I was feeling didn't disappear. It actually got heavier. I'd catch myself getting short over defects that were irrelevant, or I'd hide on my laptop when things felt chaotic at home. But that's when it hit me. I was expecting a job title to replace the discipline I hadn't even built for myself yet. I used to think discipline was a large act of motivation and willpower, but what I learned instead is that discipline without consistency burns out fast. Even now, working as a dev, I see people who are sharper than me, people who can just sit down and pretty much write an entire feature in a night, but then they're burnt out and useless for the rest of the week. I realized pretty fast after seeing that, I don't want to live like that. I don't have the luxury of disappearing for a few days to recover. I want to be present for my family the second I walk out of the office. So I don't need to be a hero on Monday if it means I'm burnt out on Wednesday. I just need to be the person who shows up and does what I say I'll do every single day. Whether it's debugging defects or writing documentation that may or may not be appreciated. Showing up even when progress feels invisible is where stability comes from. And that's why it's rarely mentioned. Because discipline is boring, it doesn't sell courses, and it doesn't look impressive online. I still sometimes catch myself avoiding the real work. Not with Netflix, but with distractions that look productive. Reading a random tech blog, updating the font and theme in my IDE, or adding tasks to my to-do list instead of actually doing them. Isn't it so much easier to optimize tools than to fix our lack of focus? Now, if any of this feels the least bit familiar, the next part is the most useful thing I've learned. I ask myself, am I doing this because it needs to be done, or because I'm afraid of what happens if I stop? That question has saved me more times than any productivity system I've tried. It pulls my focus back to where it should be and keeps me from wasting time. This is what I consider to be discipline. Now, if you want to try this for yourself, here's something simple to start with. For the next 5 days, don't try to fix everything. Pick one simple promise you can keep to yourself. It can be as small as going to bed at the same time, or a consistent 1-hour study block, or even putting your phone down at a specific time at night. Not because it's optimal, but because it's repeatable and builds momentum. Every time you keep a small promise to yourself, you're rebuilding trust with yourself. That's what discipline actually is. Now, learning to code gave me a path. Discipline and consistency are the things that keep me on it. And there are so many things that I'm still learning and figuring out each day. So there's no need to feel defeated if you're trying to build a skill and a life at the same time. You're not behind, you're just in the process.